little bit behind on the vlogs. I've got a bunch of shoots I would like to talk about. My favorite time of the week. This was my last game of the season. I want to keep playing hockey and would like to keep getting better. This shoot, we had some pretty high profile interviews. So we brought out the big guns. We had 3 cameras for the interview, one mid shot and then another one center shot. And then we had another camera that was off to the side. Lighting package, I mean, just taking a look right over here, we had a lot of goodies out today. We had the projector mount creating this fake sort of trees kind of coming onto the floor. There's the B200 helping fill up ambient exposure. I have this Nanlite 720B as our key light. We were running it through some bleached muslin. We have another tube light right over there to the side, just kind of, again, helping add ambient exposure to the room. Or we have another tube light acting as the hair light with the T4C barn doors. Floppy on the negative side to help create more shadow. So you can kind of take a look at both cameras in action. We really had them very close. I think we had one camera at 35 and the other at 50. Loving that bleached muslin, man. And then on the light dome, I think we just had one layer of diffusion with the 720B. The hair light was giving, some separation from our subject and the background. This helps them pop a little bit more. This room was awesome. You try to shoot your interviews in rooms that have a lot of space. It'll just make shooting experience better. You get more depth. Also, this was a pretty cool looking room. So then here were some of my settings for this. I had the Nanlite 720B, 3600 Kelvin, 60%, 300B, which was that projector mount. It was at 21%, 4700 Kelvin. I'm finding when using the projector mount in scenarios where it's interior and we're just trying out a little texture, you usually don't have to have a lot of output on it or else it just looks weird. Tube 1, that's the one that was out of frame helping light up the background, 100%, 3800 Kelvin. And I actually turned off the tube for the second interview. Usually for people with no hair, it just like creates weird reflections, and I've just found usually for people with no hair, you're probably better off not using a hair light. That's just been my experience lately. B-roll, FX6, 7-200, easy rig. Got this knife and this new workstation. So I'm just gonna nerd out here a little bit about some gear that I picked up. Also featuring my new workbench. I am really trying to just maximize the space in my apartment. Some new stuff. I got a new V-mount plate for my FX3 rig. Had some issues with my other one. One of the D-taps stopped working. So pulled the trigger and bought this wooden camera V-mount plate. I have one for my FX6 and I freaking love it. So let's get this guy on. Also, bro, the amount of sheer joy that this gives me right here, you guys have no idea. It's just like organization, all my, rigging, random stuff. You could just kind of see I've laid everything out. Wooden camera, man. I love this stuff. Look how freaking clean this looks. It's got 2 D-taps right over here. Just looking around. The build quality is awesome. Very excited to get this guy on my camera. I'd love to get like a dedicated work light situation for this. But for now, I've got the Zhiyun Cinepeer X100. I actually reviewed that light, so I'll link that above. Cine Still 800T for my film shooters. I freaking love this film stock. Gotta get some weight on here. Another thing that's cool about this, has a little built-in power strip, so could do my charging up here. This is what I'm talking about. Just organization, making my life easier, having things in little pouches, keeping things as organized as possible. This way, it just, when I'm on set, I'm not digging through a camera backpack. Where's this wire? Where's this thing? Everything's laid out. Maybe I'll even label it. And a lot of times, actually, I'll have other camera operators using my gear, and I like to think having things more laid out makes that easier for them. I recommend you do the same. I wish for this I had a little bit better of a configuration, like the gimbal just snugly fits in right here. The vest, the side grips, and then handles in the base. First thing I could find on B&H, I probably could have done more research, but maybe like some longer inserts. But anyways, these filled up pretty nicely. I got small rig battery, Ronin battery, the Raven eyes, the HDMIs, some other wires and USB-Cs, base plates, use this guy for the monitor sometimes, and then HDMI USB-C to power the FX3, another Canon D-tap. This, one of them's empty. It should have this right in here, this viewfinder thing that I never use. Actually, I think I put this here. Some random tools, another like little NATO thing, some mounting stuff, Sony batteries, Canon batteries, extra HDMI, mic, small HD 502, kind of my backup, and then I keep my main wires that I need, 2 HDMIs and a timecode cable, 2 chargers. Now I have my new base plate, V-mount plate stitch sits right here, and then here's my top handle, and I just use this sun hood thing just to kind of cover that up. It is nice though that with this configuration, I actually do have a little bit extra room. I'll just show you guys this. I don't know if I ever... Now it's looking pretty empty just with the way things have been kind of coming in and out. Boom. Just like that. This is making me super happy. But now I gotta charge stuff. I have a shoot tomorrow and Tuesday. Both of them are FX3 jobs, so both of these Pelicans will be coming out. Another thing, always just testing gear, seeing out ways in which I could improve it. I love these magnetic filter rings with my magnetic filters. These are amazing, but I was using the 16 to 35, and I noticed the other day at 16, there was a bit of vignetting. I think it was with the MD. I'm not sure if I was double stacking, but right now I'm just gonna do a quick test. Maybe with this lens, I can't use these magnetic filters. I'm gonna stop it down. Definitely a little bit of a vignette here. It's not crazy, but it's something. Let me just look at it with the ND now. Okay, so it's not as bad. Barely noticeable. Let's see if I was to stack though. Yeah, now that's just not really usable in my opinion. So I can't stack. Let me just see what the regular filter looks like. All right, so this is perfect and I don't see an ounce of vignetting. Let's stop it down. Yeah, all the way. I think that's because the actual filter ring is like, it's wider than the lens, so you're not getting any of this other stuff. Another thing I need to change in my settings, I've had clear image zoom on, I guess for years, for maybe some of that like event work stuff that I used to do more of. The other day I had it on accidentally. Well, now it won't let me zoom because I don't have an optical zoom lens on, but it was like showing that it was at like 1.1 magnification, and I was like, dang, because it's so easy just to accidentally touch one of these. Anyways, turn that off. It's just little things that, like I said, you just got to kind of tweak your stuff to make it work for you and make it work more efficiently. And I usually don't recommend doing a ton of those little tweaks on set. Just kind of rock with what you're doing, but then when you're at home, build your camera up, open it up, see just ways that you could make it work better for you. Backing up footage, I love these Western Digital 18 terabytes. I already have one right here. The most simple and cost-effective way, let's just make life easy and keep it redundant, just so I have 2 backups of everything. We're getting crafty today. You guys ever have your rig with the 15 mil rods and then kind of just put it up and sort of hits your belly right here, and that's not fun? I was like, you know what? I want some sort of foam kind of thing. So I got some of this foam over here, and then whatever this material is called. This I was using for my milk crates, but I figured let's, I don't know, design something. It's a little lopsided, but I just put this foam and then that material, gaff taped it. So now this goes in right here, and then, you see? That feels way better. Feeling crafty. I don't know if I ever talked about these, but these little small rig 50 watt hour batteries are the bomb. I have a little mini Tilta. It's a mini V-mount plate. This way I could power my small HD Ultra 5, which is my monitor of choice. I purposely went with the smaller batteries just so I could keep my Ronin as light as possible. We're only powering the monitor with these guys. If I was trying to also power the camera and the gimbal, I would probably big the heavier batteries out, but this is all that's needed. Just kidding, another change has been made. The Ronin is masterfully packed, 2 wraps and some extra old case dividers. The Tilta, the vest for the Ronin support, all the Ronin goodies in here. So now Gonna roll out in style with just one big Pelican, everything I need. I decided no 70 to 200 because, well, we're not gonna shoot anything that long. Like maybe I'll pack the 135 just in case. So now if they want something longer, I have a 135. Everything, I have backups. This is just an A7R3. I hope I don't have to use that. That'd be a problem. But I am prepared either way, and yeah. For good measure, I'll also toss in this little Cine Pier light. I probably won't use it. I'm not even gonna bring a stand. The shoot was fun. I used to live in Bushwick for several years. If you're familiar with that neighborhood in Brooklyn, there's a pizza place called Roberta's. They're actually opening another Roberta's. And actually, by the time this video launches, this place is probably opening. Anyways, it's right next to Penn Station, and we got to film the opening party, the soft opening. It wasn't officially open, but I guess it was people that were involved with the project, or if you know people that were, they had like an opening party. Pretty cool. And of course, I had to have some pizza. Freaking delicious. Another interview day. Eric built up his book light. So first he has the floppy, keep the white side open, and then he decided to put on here. Some cheap basic diffusion, clamp that on. They had this like tent pole, putting some sort of black wrap or black sheet on the sides to have less spill. And then he had it like on like a little mini light stand, and then the light points up and then it bounces from one side to another and then through the wall. Pretty nifty idea. Then you can kind of see it in action. I think we need a thicker black sheet or duvetine or whatever to have less spill, but we got some really nice exposure and the light was very nice. And then also we had off to the side my projector mount, adding some texture onto the wall, again at a very low percentage, but man, all these little things that add up to help make such a better image. And now when we're doing interview days, it's been pretty much coming out with me every single time.
We just put hops on the cameras, and now I'm just briefly organizing my feed bag a little bit. These are going to be for producers to listen. We got one more locket box for Eric's camera.
What are the brand of those again?
Which one?
These guys?
So this is Lectrosonics.
That's like the best brand.
R1Bs. Yeah, they're like industry standard. So these, I use those both as like headsets for producers to listen, as well as hops for cameras. And then this is the Nike JV1 locket box.
I could see that GoPro noise. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Nope.
I bought some Nikes. These are Air Max 2013s. They seem to have a much nicer support for my foot. I don't want to mess my foot up, so yeah, this is nice. So gonna be wearing these for work. Pretty excited about that.
All right, heading out to New York City to help out my buddy John with a video production today. Should be a good day, busy day, and enjoy.
Angelo, he's another fellow cinematographer, very talented, creative individual. My buddy Mike told me, oh, you should work with this guy. I feel like you guys hit it off, and we did. We had a good day. Funny enough, this is another education client, but it was completely different from the New York City public school stuff. Scouting out rooms first, always check out what spaces are available. Keying with the 300B that day. It's probably going to be the last time we do that. The Mark 1, it's a little noisy and it's a little clunky. Might get rid of it. And then also I've been, using my 720B a lot, as well as all these new Zhiyun lights that I've been using and testing. And on that note, I've reviewed now the Zhiyun B200 and the Zhiyun B500. Check both of those out. Also, I freaking love when everything's at one location. I take it back. We do go somewhere else later in the day, but we were able to pack the car up with all the lights. Budget wise on this shoot, we could only have one camera. So for B-roll, I still was nice and brought both of them just because it would make my life easier. I did one camera, FX6 24-70 RS3 Pro gimbal, and then the other camera was the Sony FX6 7200 on the SAC. This was a great combination for B-roll. So you get both things, right? You get the, the wide sweeping shots, the classic gimbal motion, then also 70-200 long lens handheld. You get those nice beauty shots, the details, the emotion. In the edit, you need both of those stuff, and I didn't want to take the camera off, put the 70-200 on. Honestly, this was the kind of job where I probably didn't need the FX6, but that's my second camera. Part of me would love to have another smaller body, maybe another FX3, or Sony announces something else. So a lot of these scenarios, we were just bouncing light off the ceiling for B-roll. At first, I was bouncing the light off the ceiling. The ceiling was like brown wooden blocks or whatever, and then above that was a black ceiling. I noticed that this wasn't very reflective. So later in the day, I eventually decided to change and just kind of bounce it off the walls, the white walls, which was giving way more of a pop. Then I noticed at some scenarios it was too sourcey. So I was controlling everything with the app and trying to be cognizant of that. And we're setting up. We set this OTF up pretty quick. I'm pretty happy with this. Keying with the 300B, using the 200B as our ambient fill, and we used a hair light. Pretty bare bones, minimal setup. I think we did 2 layers of diffusion and the grid. I had the 35mm on there, f1.4. That is my favorite lens right now for interviews. And I had to do sound. We didn't have budget for a sound mixer, which was kind of a bummer, but what I did was just an overhead shotgun mic using the Sennheiser. I think it's MKH 416. It's actually the mic I'm using right now. It's a fantastic mic, and the FX6 has 2 XLR inputs. Input 1 was the shotgun mic, and since, as you can see, we're pretty close to talent, my backup source was the on-camera shotgun mic. I didn't want to deal with hiding a lavalier on the talent. I have too many things going on, so this was going to have to make do. Yeah, so you can kind of see a picture of that frame. I think it looks pretty clean. And we also did it really quick. Andrew was like, dude, how the hell did you do that so fast? And then I really realized, you know what? This is all I freaking do. And I'm, just trying to log my hours and hopefully become a master at this thing. We're grabbing some B-roll around campus. Another part of this, they're using this for like a lot of promotional content. Basically, this program is worldwide. It's like a program for kids where they get to go away somewhere for 2 weeks, and it's a lot of international students, and it's like a mini school camp kind of thing, but do cool careers, whether it's like fashion, finance. What I was contracted to do was just grab some B-roll around the area just so they could kind of get a tour of the campus, because I assume they want to use it again.
There you go.
Sir?
No problem, dude.
So I'm gonna start vlogging like this.
Yeah, that'll be perfect.
Make sure you have your conversations with your clients about, hey, do you have someone that's going to do the interviews? Because they're going to be like, oh, you do camera, you do lenses, you do lights, audio, sound, whatever. I have myself. I have Angelo. Technically, I'm the DP. I will run sound. And then Angelo is kind of like my swing PA. I'm like, in an ideal scenario, I have someone from your team asking the questions because you know the content. I can't ask the questions because I'm focusing on camera and sound. That's already 2 tasks. Angelo, he could have done it, but I think it's more of a benefit if the client asks the questions because they know what they want. And they give me a list of like 30 questions, like, oh, you can just pick some. And I'm like, I would way rather have someone that actually knows the brand, actually knows what bites that we need, because we're not editing this. So that was very helpful that someone from their team could help produce. I recommend when you're in a scenario like that, try to get some extra hands on deck from the team, or from the client, better yet. And then we got to go do some B-roll, kind of did a theater tour around Times Square. It's actually July 4th. Yes, I worked on July 4th. Very American of me. Every time I go to Times Square, I'm like, I never want to be here, and it's always for work. It was so freaking crowded. I feel like all New Yorkers don't ever go to Times Square, and rightfully so. It is kind of a crazy spectacle, right? The buildings, the lights, the theaters, it's pretty crazy looking. I don't like it, but I kind of get the merit of why it's on a tourist list. Yeah, please stop sending me there, guys. And that was pretty much it for that day. That's a wrap.